housing. 50 billion a year goes into this. If there was no homelessness, 50 billion a year. So yes, of course, your taxes, my taxes, our taxes are going to go down. And remember, these things, they manipulate the market in one arena that you can't get away from, an essential human need like housing, because that's what they did. This is the driver. Okay, this is the causer. Okay, this is the main fire that creates all the chain reaction fires, the spot fires of cost of living inflation. Do you understand? Hey, if your rent or mortgage goes up, guess what? If you've just been treading water, you need to find out where you're going to make that extra. So you get desperate. You understand? Because you're trying to survive. So you might say, oh, well, maybe there's welfare. And then you find, well, there's nothing left here. You can't help you. Sorry. We spent all this Section 8 HUD money, so I'm sorry, you're on your own, buddy. So the next thing you know is if your cost of living keeps going up, that bar gets harder and harder to reach, that nut gets harder and harder to crack. You're the next guy living out under the bridge. You say, well, yeah, but they were weak and, they're stupid or lazy, they're drunk, they're on drugs or whatever you want to rationalize in your head so you can live with yourself, okay? That's your business. But I'm highly recommending that you don't do that. That you tune into God and you say, no, I want to see this through your eyes. I want to be who you want me to be at the end of the day. I'm not worried about losing my individuality here. I've got to be who you want me to be when it comes to my opinions and my beliefs, my credos, my philosophies. Okay, that's it. What I behold as dear, and those things are dear. And I don't remember who said it, but hey, you don't worry about this guy's problem, and you say, hey, they're coming to get him, and that just means neglecting their needs and letting them die out under the bridge. Then the next thing you know, it's that next guy. You say, well, I can't worry about him. That's not my problem. They're just going after this group of people. So that's their problem. They better figure it out, but it's not my problem. And then they're going after another group. Wow, that's messed up. Oh, well, it's not my problem. I'm not in that group. The next thing you know, they're coming for you and the special interest, the group that you're in, whatever, okay, as an individual or as a group, a collective that belongs to a certain whatever, okay, like the Jews or the tradesmen or, on and on, right? That was the parable that was told by this philosopher. But they're going to come for you. And so it's going to be your turn eventually. It's going to swallow you up. Okay, eventually, okay, that's what social Darwinianism does. That's what a pyramid scheme does. Eventually, your cost of living is going to get too high. You're going to have to tighten your belt or you're going to have to try to increase your numbers, okay, to match it. So you're complying. That's it. You're going along with the social Darwinian economic principles. Dog eat dog, rat race, devour one another, hyper-competitive scene, man. And it's a dead-end street. So, it's going to swallow you up eventually too. So you've got to care. And the sooner you care about others, okay, the sooner you're off the hook with God. You're saying, hey, at least I care. I am on record. I am outspoken about this thing. I am vociferous about this. I hate this thing, God. Please read my heart. The idea of one of my fellow human beings that, a better man, a better woman than I dying out in the cold because of the neglect by this satanic society, okay, is appalling to me. And you know what? I tell you what, God, I'm just beside myself. And while I don't want to trade places with that person, God, I'm having a really hard time here just coping with the horrors of this world that Satan is still in control of. And that's what it comes down to. Satan is still in control of this world. Okay, like I point out, all these evil people, these child molesters, and this doctor in court, and then this woman comes in, and she, one of the women that testified against him, she was a real Christian woman, okay, and she offered this guy forgiveness, and he molested her. Do you understand? This woman offered him. You understand how huge that is? To God, this woman is going to heal up better than all those other women that just spewed their anger and bitterness and hatred, okay, toward this guy, because they knew on the table when this guy was doing whatever the hell he was doing to him, this is why these women feel guilty. They all know that they probably should have, put their legs together or whatever and get the hell out of there, just run, scream, whatever. I don't know. I'm not a woman, so I don't know. They can be intimidated. Men are a little different. I mean, men can be stupid too. I mean, I think I might have been mildly molested once when I was a child. I had pneumonia. I was at a hospital in Ireland, and there was a couple of nurses that I thought acted a little fishy under the circumstances. But I'm healed up. I'm not going to go into it. You know, I believe in forgiveness and all that. But, you know, if it happened to my daughters and I felt like somebody had psychologically harmed them, I mean, you know, all bets are off. I'm not promising any child molest or anything, okay, as far as me controlling myself. And, you know, I'm going to count on the forgiveness of God if I do anything crazy to a child molester ever. You know, that's caught red-handed in the act, right? Otherwise, you know, you might get the wrong guy. So you don't want that to happen. Moses caught the guy in the act. So, but anyhow, this woman, she's going to heal it better than the others that, you know, were just bitter about everything. And, you know, they need to forgive themselves too. These women, now they're women, but when they were children, I mean, they need to forgive themselves, or young women, teenagers, molested by this guy. I mean, they need to forgive themselves for allowing themselves to be molested. And you can, how dare you say that? Well, you know, I'm just saying that, you know, if you know you're being molested, you know, and, you know, but look, I don't want to say any more about this. I just don't know what it's like to be a girl. I don't know what it's like to be molested as a girl. And these women have a right to get all this anger and bitterness off their chest. I'm all for that. But all I'm saying is, if there's one woman I believe that's going to heal up better than the others, it's that true Christian woman that told this guy, look, I believe you can be forgiven. But even Jesus himself, okay, had a hard time with that kind of forgiveness. So it's a big deal. You don't want to do anything that you're going to have a really, really, really hard time forgiving yourself for. Not to mention that God might end up deciding to throw your soul into hell. Okay, go hang out with Satan and his minions, okay, forever and ever in the burning lake of fire and all that crap. You know, Dante's Inferno, 9 circles of hell. I don't want to be there. So, you know, that's what it's like. Better not to have been born. Better to have a millstone tied around your neck and be thrown into the sea. So that's all I got to say about that. And, you know, so I'm going to get on to some current events from this past week. Anything I've already touched on, I think I will omit so I can get through this video series today. Let's see, what do we have here? Oh, Trump's speech, the State of the Union recently. You notice how the mainstream media, I remember hearing them play. The only part of the speech they played was the few boos, like it was 2 or 3 people that were doing this boo. You know, that's the only part of the speech. And then they turned the volume way up. They fixated on that because there was a couple people in hundreds of people in the audience that booed in that. But that's what the media fixated on. It's interesting, isn't it? There was a 12-year-old girl involved in a school shooting recently. I guess one of the people died. I guess there was a boy and a girl shot, and one of the girls died. The guy is expected to survive. 12 years old, man. Kids. Yeah, things are pretty messed up at home, I think, for something like that to happen. You know, I've talked about, you know, this idea that humans, we could do whatever the hell we want. And we should. We should get involved in really fun projects all over the world. I talk about this really fantastical idea of building a bridge to Hawaii. Well, look, you start with that is, you know, the ultimate aim, but, you know, it might take thousands of years to do it. And you go and you learn on the way. But, you know, one of the things I learned is I thought the Pacific Ocean, how deep could it be? 50 miles? It was just off the top of my head. And I thought, well, we can still do it. But, you know, the fun of just getting started and getting humanity excited about projects everywhere, up and down states and all the countries of the world. Just do what you want, have fun. God gave us the earth to recreate and to express ourselves, and it's all good and okay. The infrastructure is fine. He gave us the wherewithal, the intelligence, the ability to build all this infrastructure and to have fun, enjoy it. Okay, but be good stewards of the earth. We're not supposed to pollute, mess it up either. But there's this disruptive, technology out there. That, hey, well, it's disruptive to the oil companies' profits if the cars were running on hydrogen that was being produced on demand in your vehicle. If you could just put water in your gas tank, I mean, that's not good for the profits. That's disruptive technology to the profits of the oil companies. So when people just want to blame humans at large for climate change, okay, because there is no constant. So now they can't say warming because we're not sure it's actually warming on a trend. But we're just going to say change, which covers our butt no matter which way it goes. So we're going to blame humans. We're going to finger them. But these people at the top that are fingering us, guys like Al Gore, have the carbon footprint of 10,000 men. So if I had to hear this from sages, I'd listen. And I'd say, yes, the Bible says we should be good stewards of the earth, protect it. Do you get it? So anyhow, just a point. So we can do whatever we want. And we can take care of the planet at the same time. But, I was also finding out that the Pacific Ocean is less than 7 miles deep at its deepest spot. I mean, yeah, that's still a long way. But, you could put pilings down. I mean, you've got to, if you're going to have a bridge in the Pacific Ocean, it's got to have to be raised up, I would say, at least 100 feet. So you could go back and get the records on what the highest swells are. But, I don't think you're going to get anything over 100 feet, except on maybe, watching the perfect storm. There were some pretty big waves in there. I've seen some pretty big swells. The ocean swells can get pretty high, but they reach their highest when they come in and they start breaking in the land. In Hawaii, they get some mighty swells. But, of course, that's in the Pacific. So, you want that bridge high off the ground. If you're going to have islands, they're going to have to be floating islands, right? So, but they could be stable, just like an ocean liner. It's not like it's bobbing and bouncing all over the place all the time. It might be, so you make it to be able to withstand storms and everything else. It's going to move very sluggishly and gently, a big floating island. But the fun is in the project, in the idea. So you do one island at a time. You go out 1 mile and build an island. Then, a couple more miles and build another island. And you have lodging and you have restaurants and whatever you want. Gift shops. Hey, it's our world. It's our planet. We can do what we want. There doesn't have to be anything wrong with materialism. But we got to understand that it doesn't need to involve money. It doesn't need to involve an advantage-disadvantage paradigm. We could collect whatever we want. We could all have pockets full of diamonds or gold coins or whatever. If that floats your boat, then go for it. Whatever you want to collect, cars, you want to collect houses. I mean, we could have extra stuff all over the place. And who needs to collect if anything we want is available to at any given time? Oh, there's a big demand. People want to drive Ferraris. Then we make enough till there's extras and satisfy people's needs. Do whatever we want. If we want to build racetracks so that people can drive their cars as fast as they want, then we can have those everywhere, where it's safe. Hey, if you're out on the racetrack, then, that you're jeopardizing your own life because there's people out there that are driving with abandon. But you can't do it on a public highway. So there'd be a lot less of that happening on public highways where it's against the law and more just, you understand? It's just one example of what I'm trying to convey here. That we can be totally free and we can be prosperous and we can even be materialistic, but not be devoted to those things, not be hung up on them, understand them for what they are, temporal, that they're just fleeting, they're passing through. But it's the point. It's just like the point I make on volunteerism. I'm not down talking anybody that's volunteered. I've volunteered plenty of times in my life for Habitat for Humanity at soup kitchens and for other things, picking up litter on the side of the highway, okay? But am I wrong to say that they're the ultimate scabs too? Because anybody whose job is picking up litter on the highway, anybody whose job is building houses, anybody whose job is the food industry, okay? I am taking food out of their children's mouths. That's the point I'm trying to make. So it is a paradox. It is tough. We are humans. It is tough to be human and to face these realities. But running from it doesn't help. We got to face the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth. If you really expect to fix your problems, our problems, and extricate ourselves, yourself, from out under the thumb of these evil people that are running our lives, okay, you say they're not running your... Oh, really? You don't have a cost of living? Believe me, if you have a cost of living, they're still running your life to some measure. I have a cost of living. They're still running my life to some measure. Jesus said it. The prince of this world is Satan until he returns. That's the blessed hope. That's the only thing we should be anxious for. It's written, be anxious for nothing except his blessed return. That's it. And an end to this nightmare. An end. And there's not going to be any money. I guarantee it. When God's will is done on earth as it is in heaven, there will not be any money, so you need to psych yourself out.